Hello everyone, I'm Heather from I Talk You Talk Press. I'm going to read you a story from the graded reader Old Jack's Ghost Stories from Scotland. This is a level 3 graded reader, so it is intermediate level. Old Jack is a man who lives in North England and he likes ghost stories very much. And he travels around different countries listening to ghost stories. One year he travelled to Scotland and he heard some ghost stories. And I'm going to read one of the stories to you now. The story is called The Injured Spirit. I hope you like it. We travel north now to the beautiful land of Aberdeenshire. Here we find Leith Hall. The hall was built in 1650 by the Leith family. It was kept in the family until 1945, when it was given to the National Trust of Scotland. If you visit Aberdeen, I recommend you visit Leith Hall. It is in the middle of beautiful countryside and has wonderful gardens. It is a very nice place to spend a summer afternoon. However, Leith Hall hides a dark secret. Let's go back to a few days before Christmas in 1763. The lord of the hall, John Leith, was in a pub. He was drunk and he was having a fight with another man about something. The other man was also drunk. No one knows what they were fighting about, but they were very angry with each other. The other drinkers in the pub were watching the fight. Then they heard a shot. John fell to the floor. His head was bleeding. He had been shot. A few days later, on Christmas Day, he died. John's family said, "He was murdered. The other man killed him." There were many people drinking in the pub at the time, but they said, "I didn't see anything." No one talked about it. John's family believed that the man killed John, but the man said, "No, I was protecting myself. He tried to kill me." Let's come forward to the 1960s, when the writer Elizabeth Bird was staying in Leith Hall with her family. She stayed there for a few years. During that time, she experienced strange events. Doors closed by themselves, and there were strange sounds coming from empty rooms. Sometimes her friends came to visit her. They didn't like Leith Hall. In particular, they didn't like the master bedroom on the second floor. One night, Elizabeth and her husband went to bed. During the night, she woke up. It was very dark in the room. "What's that?" she thought. She could hear a man's voice in the center of the room. "Who is that? Who is in our room?" she thought. She switched a small lamp on. In the shadows she saw a man. There was blood on the man's face. He had a bandage wrapped around his head. He didn't look like a ghost. He looked like a real man. She sat up in bed and pointed to the door. Very strongly, she said, "Go!" The man walked towards the bed. He was looking at her, and he was walking towards her. She said in a much stronger voice, "Go now!" The man looked at her. Then he turned and walked away. He disappeared into a wall. After that night, the writer's dog would not go into the room. He stood at the door to the room and growled. I think dogs are very sensitive. I think they can feel ghosts. Who was that man? I think it was the ghost of John Leith. Maybe he wanted to tell the writer about that night so many years ago in the pub. Maybe he wanted to tell her the truth. Maybe he wanted her to write about it. We will never know the reason. The ghost of John is not the only ghost in Leith Hall. There are many more. Some visitors have heard footsteps. Some people have heard a woman laughing or seen the ghosts of children playing in bedrooms. If you go to Leith Hall, I hope you enjoy your visit. I recommend you go in summer when there are many visitors and a lot of sunlight. If you go, I hope you don't see a man with blood and a bandage on his head. If you do see him and he starts to walk towards you, remember this story. Be strong. Tell him to go away. How was it? Did you enjoy the story? I hope so. The link to the book is below. Thank you for listening. See you in the next video.